Creed 2 stars Michael B. Jordan, Sylvester Stallone, and Tessa Thompson, and is directed by Stephen Cable Jr. 30 years after Ivan Drago faced off against Apollo Creed and Rocky Balboa, he returns with his son Victor Drago, who challenges Adonis Creed for the title of the heavyweight champion. Now, Creed 2 is the follow-up to 2015's Creed film, which I really enjoyed. And depending on who you talk to, this is either the 8th film in the Rocky universe or it's the 2nd in a spin-off series. And I really liked the first Creed. I thought it was a very solid film. Ryan Coogler directed that film and he did it exceptionally well. He really started introducing a few new themes that we hadn't really seen before, like a son living in his father's shadow, trying to live up to his legacy while still struggling to find his own identity. And we also had a man who was struggling to find purpose and meaning in his life in his later years. The screenplay, written by Jill Taylor and Sylvester Stallone, does bring back some of those ideas and themes that had been introduced in the first Creed movie, and does manage to do a little bit of an expansion on some of those ideas and themes, but it also does a little bit of a retread as well from that Creed film, which is a little bit disappointing there. Given that we have some of these characters coming back from earlier film series, this film is almost like a companion piece to Rocky IV, but it also borrows a lot of story beats and similar ideas to Rocky 2 and 3, and so it almost comes across like it's a little bit of a greatest hits story playing out here. And because of the predictable story beats, I did find that a little bit disappointing here, and I suspect that some of that may have come from the many writers that were involved in this project. What is handled excellently here, and something that I feel Sylvester Stallone doesn't get enough credit for, is his handle on writing characters, and it's very evident here in Creed 2, where we have rich characterization, fantastic arcs with all of these characters, and we really care about them. And what that does is it really sells the emotional highs and lows that this film is really going for, and I think has been a real staple in the Rocky series. Michael B. Jordan returns once again as Adonis Creed, and here we have a character here who is still trying to really flesh out his own identity and still struggles with living in his father's shadow. But he starts to show a few traits that are very reminiscent of Apollo, which I thought was really well handled here. And once again, Michael B. Jordan is fantastic as this character. We have Tessa Thompson back as well, who's really, I guess you could say, the Adrian of the series, and she plays Bianca. She's fantastic in this film here. She's very supportive of Adonis, but obviously still worries about him every time he gets into the ring. Sylvester Stallone and the character of Rocky Balboa is just something that goes together like a perfect glove. And a wonderful character was birthed from the mind of this man over 42 years ago with the first Rocky film. And he's just one of the greatest characters to ever grace the screen. He's the underdog, and a lot of people connect with him because he's always the underdog that has a fighting chance, a fighting chance to succeed. And I find it sometimes difficult to distinguish where Sylvester Stallone ends and where Rocky Balboa begins, given the similar journey that both have gone through over the years. But I gotta say, it's just wonderful to see him on screen. And of course, it goes without saying, he's brilliant as the character, and he is given a lot to do in this film. It's definitely not a cameo performance. Yes, Ivan Drago is back 33 years later, back to the series, and once again, well played here by Dolph Lundgren. I guess he's given a lot more to do in this film here, and his character arc is very integral to the direction of the film and where it's going. In Rocky IV, he was really just no more than the big guy who took on Apollo Creed and Rocky Balboa. But here, his character is more fleshed out, and there's a lot of depth and nuance to his performance here. There's a brilliant tense scene where Ivan and Rocky reunite after 33 years later, and it's in Rocky's Diner. It's one of my favorite scenes in this film. Very well written and very well directed, and once again a testament to just how good Sly is at really handling characters and characterization in film. At a runtime of 2 hours and 10, the film does feel a little bit long here, and a little bit uneven in spots as well. And given the fact that Creed 2 borrows from films that were under the 2 hour runtime, I actually think Creed 2 could have done the same here and really just trimmed its runtime down. In terms of being uneven, some scenes do drag on a little bit longer than necessary when it's really doing a retread from previous films that we've seen before. But when it's breaking new ground, it actually awkwardly cuts, and you actually just kind of wish that some of these scenes had played out for a little bit longer instead, because it's really tapping into something that is very fresh and very bold. Capel Jr. as a director, he has moments here where he's really on the ball, like the diner scene, which I mentioned earlier in the review, between Rocky and Ivan, and also too when Adonis is preparing for a match, just moments before a big fight. There's really moments here where magic is really flowing, but there's also moments in the film where he's really struggling to get the most out of a scene, like when Adonis is stewing in his own emotions. As such, Stephen Capel Jr. does an okay job with direction here, but I actually feel that a change of director for this film could have been the best thing for it. In the hands of Sly Stallone or Ryan Coogler, for example, I just feel that they could have delivered a tighter film to really knock it out of the park. Now, it sounds like I'm being a bit hard on this film. It is one of those things where some things worked great, some things didn't work so well, but I think what really elevated it for me was the rich characterization here to really sell some emotional highs and lows, and the amazing performances from its cast. It really elevated it up for me. So is it the best in the series? No, absolutely not. Is it a worthy addition to the series? Absolutely. Yo, check it out. It's a good one, you know?
But you don't think I can beat him? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm not going to be here forever.
And what's that supposed to mean?
It means you got to do some smart thinking.
Oh, you want to talk about smart decisions, Rock? You in this house all alone. Who been taking care of you? Me. I've been here for you. Who else you got?
So guys, what did you think of Creed 2? Let me know in the comments below what you thought, and while you're there, let me know what your favorite Rocky film is. And guys, if you really dug this review, don't forget to flick a like and subscribe, and also hit that little notification bell as well. And until next time guys, a weekend watching movies is a weekend well spent. Thanks for watching. People tend to connect with him, I think, because he's just one of those characters that, whoops, here I am talking about Rocky and I'm knocking him over.